Um, okay, so I'll try to make this short because we are running a bit late. So I'm going to talk about stages of knowledge. Subtitle, Always Forward. Who's here seen a Kanban board? I've seen hundreds. And I sometimes see weird things happen with them. And I also see sort of things that, a bit of a dance that happens with tickets. Sometimes they kind of move backwards. I'm like, oh, why are they moving backwards, right? Should that really be part of how we work? So value stream mapping, who's seen this before? Coming out of manufacturing, lean manufacturing, great way to improve that line of business. I know that people have tried to use this in knowledge work, and obviously I'm part of the knowledge work industry. There's stuff happening there. There's quite a bit. Can you turn this into a board? How do you actually go about converting something that describes a process into something that you can use? Well, this has a lot in it. I kind of look at it as sort of lions, tigers, and some bears too. Oh my. So this might not be something that you directly use, especially if you're thinking about putting up a board for your team, your service, your process, your department, your organization. So here's what saves the day: process maps, right? We're going to simplify that. We're going to go in and we'll recognize that there's some decisions and things happen and things go backwards too. And so, to coin a colleague of mine, there's a bunch of loop-de-loos that happen in this, right? So if you try and actually have your board reflect a process map, you're going to have some circular movement. And that may not be something you want to have a simple, usable board to reflect how you work. So a lot of loop-de-loos. Maybe start here, but is this where you finish? Okay, what's next? So we're talking about knowledge work, and one way you can sort of think about solving this problem is thinking about what actual work you're in the business for. And that's the product, the knowledge, right? You're actually trying to develop knowledge over time. So you have these teams and they're working on things, but when you're starting something, you're actually starting at the point of least knowledge, right? Should we choose this project or this option versus that? We don't know, so we've chosen this. So now we know what we've chosen, right? How are we going to build it? Well, we don't know. We'll do something. Now we know how to build it. Were we able to actually build it? Oh, we don't know. Oh, now we've built it, so now we've built it, right? Does it meet our requirements? We haven't launched it yet, so we better launch it. Oh, now we've launched it and it actually works. It meets our requirements. So you're starting from a point of we know the least, and you end at the point of we know the most, right? And there's a bunch of stuff that happens in between, but you're really in the line of work about producing knowledge that you didn't have. That's really it, right? That's what knowledge work is all about. I didn't know something, and now I do. Okay, so that's the arc. And so if you look at this curve, you're starting at the point of really rapid knowledge gain, right? So you start something and you're like, okay, I'm learning quite a bit. And then as you reach the end, you plateau that knowledge, right? So once your product is launched in the marketplace, are you learning more about it? Yeah, sure. But not at the rate necessarily of earlier on, right? So there comes a point where you're not learning as much. So that's kind of the end point of knowledge. So if you think about that and you start to dissect your initiatives, your work, there's a bunch of these that happen, one after the other, right? I didn't know, do I know what initiative I'm going to choose? Now I know. I'm not learning anymore. That's plateaued. I'm moving on to something else. So you can call this all sorts of names, right? You could call it generate options, prototyping, building, verifying. But, that's your process, right? You're going to choose whatever it is that you want to do. But the idea here is when you've plateaued, it's a signal to say it's time to move on to the next thing. I'm not going to learn more about this particular thing. I've already chosen my option. So I'm going to go on. So, you might be even in phases called verify, which, for a lot of us, it might mean like quality assurance or testing or something like that, but it may not be exactly. But you're in that spot and you find a bug, right? And so you have to fix that bug. It doesn't mean you're going back to build. You're still in verify. That's still the dominant thing you're trying to uncover. The activities to uncover that knowledge are changing. So maybe you have to do some testing, maybe you have to do some remediation and building, but the dominant activity still stays the same. It's still a verify activity. So given that, once you know something, it can't be unlearned. And thus, you're always moving forward, right? The moving forward is you've accumulated enough knowledge to get to the next step. You've accumulated enough knowledge to get to the next step, and that's it. So I know that, there's a Cynefin-loving crowd in here. Some of you are closet-loving Cynefin fans and such, but this is just kind of the bit for you where I say, here's how you make the step from complexity to something more simple. You actually have some embedded simplicity in how you work in knowledge work because you have complexity in your interactions. There's no doubting that, right? So all sorts of initiatives require a lot of work and, who knows how many people you have to work with, what technologies, lots of opportunities for complexity. But the knowledge development process is not, right? The transition from one to the next is not a very complex domain. And so you can go in and you can really, really simplify how you think about things like that. That's a bug in my slides. So no more loop-de-loops, right? So you have this thing, generate options, prototype, build, verify, always move forward. It's not that hard. That's it. Any questions?